everybody. Welcome to today's Oscar live stream to discuss the nominations that came out this morning. I've built us a lovely stream, and I decided to, do this live. I won't be interacting too much with your questions and comments while I do the breakdown, but because it's a live stream, of course, I'll keep an eye on it, but at the very end of the stream, I'll do a 5-minute Q&A where you can ask me anything you'd like about the nominations. But there's certainly a lot to discuss. I'm particularly excited. I'm really happy with this poster frame I put together. And I squeezed in Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong. I'm so happy for them. Thank you, Bubbles. Thank you. I'm so happy for them. I think that's a very fair film. I think it's a very well-made film. I think they both do a wonderful job in it, and I'm just so happy to see them get that recognition. And we'll talk about each of them a little bit more when we get to their respective categories. But it's just very exciting. I think this is a decent lineup. I think, it's not the most mainstream friendly group of films. There's no Avatar. Back in the day when I started covering the Oscars, they were much more popular than they are today. I think that's due to blockbusters not really being nominated, despite the changes that were made after The Dark Knight was snubbed for Best Picture. Now you can have up to 10 Best Pictures. And then also I think the politics of the industry and things like that, I think have really eaten away at the Oscars' ability. That's true. Wicked has a lot of nominations, Marduk, but I think people who like Wicked were already going to watch the Oscars. I don't think it brings in a lot of new viewership. But I will say that I'm very, very happy that they only have 5 nominations for every other category, because I think that other awards shows have 6, 7, 8 nominations. The Golden Globes, of course, split it between 2 categories. Drama and then musical or comedy. And I think, hard choices have to be made. It's an awards show. And there's only one winner. But I think it's good to start being tough, even just with the nominations. And so there are a lot of snubs that we're going to go over. All right, so before we go into the actual nominations, we've got a couple of things to discuss. So, as we touched on it a little bit yesterday, there are going to be some changes to the ceremony. Not only are they moving away from best song performances, which again, I'm a fan of. I feel that, the songs are rarely in the movies themselves, with the exception of the Emilia Perez songs, although of course Emilia Perez has turned out to be very controversial. But I've always felt every year, with the exception of I'm Just Ken, which I thought was a wonderful production number, and I heard it played even better in the auditorium if you got to see it live. These just take up way too much time during the ceremony, and no one's ever particularly excited about them. As some of you were saying, I'd much rather see a Wicked performance, one of the songs, and of course those songs are not eligible because they weren't written originally for film. Although for the second one, they're going to have new songs that were written originally for that sequel, or part 2, so those will be eligible. As for your question, Joshua, voting has only closed for nominations. They haven't even started voting for the winners. So some of the more recent controversies, like the Brutalist AI scandal, and how that even kind of, has also hit Emilia Perez to a degree, those things will only... thanks, Lone Wolf. That's very generous of you. Those things will only now take into effect when voting for the actual winners. The nomination voting closed a couple of days ago. All right, but these are not for the voting is not closed by any means. This is just the nominees. All right, so those are going to be, and also they're going to be a more serious ceremony to a degree, because they're going to talk about what's happened to Los Angeles. Absolutely devastating. Not only a huge loss for the city, but so many Academy members and other members of Hollywood have been directly affected. Huge financial losses, the loss of their homes, literally in some cases everything they've had, I think that they're going to touch on that. So, you have to wonder, Conan O'Brien, when he originally signed on to host this, Although a friend of mine in the industry says that just goes to show you nobody wants the gig. I like Conan to a degree. I think there are better options for him to host. But I think, I would have loved to have seen John Mulaney do it. But he has his fans, he trended. And I think, the reason my friend in the industry said clearly nobody else wants it is that, it's not a very high paying gig. I think it pays a little bit more to host the Golden Globes after Nikki Glaser got her contract renewed. And then also, you have to do a lot of rehearsal. So you get paid a flat fee, but it takes up a tremendous amount of your time. And then also, of course, there's a very big chance to step in it. Either with people in the industry, to upset people in the industry, to do a bad job, or also to annoy the audience at home. But I think for Conan, this is a fantastic opportunity. He's dropped off the mainstream radar a little bit. He lost his late night show. He got all the way to the Tonight Show, but then that imploded, and now he's doing some streaming stuff and things like that. Thanks, Elpidio. But and how will he handle the context of a fire-ravaged Los Angeles? I have to say, Dave Chappelle, obviously Dave Chappelle has certainly crossed the line in a very unfortunate way. It's interesting, some of you are mentioning Bowen Yang. People have pointed out that Bowen Yang, despite Dave Chappelle being on SNL multiple times, Bowen Yang has never appeared in a sketch with him. But Dave Chappelle was on Saturday Night Live last Saturday, and he had an excellent opening monologue. I think he's learned from some of his mistakes. I would hope so. But I thought he had a really lovely monologue. Not only did he touch on the fires in Los Angeles, and I think in a comedic but respectful way, but he had he handled even politics, I think, very well. So it can be done. And I will say that Conan O'Brien is a very smart comedian. He always excelled. He wasn't a great, to be honest with you, I don't think he's a great monologuer, but I think he's very smart guy. I think that he could maybe, I think, this is going to be a difficult thing to a line to walk. And I think that Conan, he has a lot of time to figure it out. The Oscars, as you can see, aren't until March 2nd. They're not until March 2nd. They're over a month away. I think that's really a little bit too far away, to be honest with you. But that's how far away they are. Now, as for the ratings, as I said, I don't think there's a movie that's going to really bring in casuals. I do worry about the ratings for this. The Golden Globes ratings, not great either. I just think there are maybe too many awards shows. The Oscars is very late. There's just so many awards shows that have already aired by then. We'll see, although right now it's anybody's game. I don't think we have any front runners yet. So that makes it a little bit more exciting. But by the time the Oscars roll around and you've gone through Critics' Choice, you've gone through SAG, you've gone through all the other winners, it'll start to become, I think, a little bit more clear as to who's probably going to win. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying nobody's going to watch, but you don't have an Avatar, you don't have a Dark Knight, you don't have a Black Panther, Marvel's movie that was nominated. You don't have a movie like that that's really going to get people to tune in and be like, oh man, maybe my movie that I really liked will win. All right, then the next thing I want to discuss is, someone said to me today, Wicked got a lot of nominations. So somebody said to me, look, Grace, it's not the new Barbie. So let's talk about that. I've been saying that Wicked was going to be the new Barbie. And what I meant by that is that we get lots of nominations, but no wins. Barbie walked away empty-handed, except for Best Original Song at the Oscars. Margot Robbie was outright snubbed, so at least that didn't happen to Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande. But just like Greta Gerwig, John Chu was also snubbed. So it's tough out there. So I don't think that, I don't think we know for sure yet if Wicked is the new Barbie. Will Wicked actually win anything? I think it will win, as Nacho just said, in the craft categories. I think Paul Tazewell is pretty much a lock for Best Costume. But will that be the only thing that it wins? I think that, it's still going to be very difficult to see exactly what happens. So there's still a chance it could be Barbie. Don't forget, Barbie had lots of nominations. Barbie had a lot of nominations. So I know, Denzel, you might say that a win is a win, but then technically Barbie won one as well. But, I think a picture like Barbie and a picture like Wicked deserve to have a major win in one of the top categories. All right, so now let's do the fun thing. Oh, boy. Wait a minute. I forgot one. I got to fix this. Boo, boo, boo. I was listening to the Wicked soundtrack, in fact, this morning. I missed one of my things here. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready. All right. So let's talk about Snubs. Everybody loves to talk about Snubs. Snubs is so fun. Okay. So, not any huge snubs. There's no snub like Margot Robbie getting snubbed for Barbie. I don't think there's any like really egregious snubs, but we're going to go over the ones that we got. All right, so I think you're seeing interesting trends, which is one of the most interesting things to me. So Nicole Kidman, remember Nicole Kidman? Just a couple of months ago, everybody felt that Nicole Kidman was a lock to not only get nominated, but probably to win. She won at Venice. She just won a couple of like smaller festivals that have just happened. She was going around making these amazing speeches, drinking milk on stage. It looked like she was unstoppable, at least for a nomination, not even nominated. And I think this is part of a trend. The Oscars have worked extremely hard to get a younger voting group, a more diverse voting group. Because for a very long time, Harvey Weinstein, before he was rightfully sent to jail, Harvey Weinstein used to be able to dominate the Oscars by campaigning very hard at a retirement home, where almost everybody who was living there at this retirement home was an Academy voter. So for quite a long time, the Academy was dominated by much older voters. But realizing that therefore the winners for the Oscars did not reflect what the general public felt, they worked very hard over the past few years to broaden the voting demographic, not only in terms of age, but gender and ethnicity. And so I think you're seeing a little bit of a pullback from, it used to be back in the day that, the people were nominated who had earned it, they were Hollywood royalty and they just got nominated again and again and again. And so it's interesting to me, and don't worry about Nicole Kidman. I don't think Nicole Kidman cares. It's a little embarrassing, but she's already got an Oscar. She won for the Hours. So I think you're seeing a little bit of a movement away from the old guard, and you're finally starting to see some new talent getting recognized, which I think is very exciting. All right, so Nicole Kidman, no nomination for you. Angelina Jolie, everybody thought Angelina Jolie was going to get nominated, and for a while she was an Oscar darling. She, in fact, won very early in her career for Girl Interrupted, of course, with her infamous acceptance speech with her brother. Mr. Magic, Nicole Kidman's not going to stop working. Don't worry about Nicole Kidman. Angelina Jolie, though, I think that she did real harm by deciding to have her divorce with Brad Pitt play out in the court of public opinion. Very similar to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and now it's happening with Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Don't play out your drama in the court of public opinion. It almost always backfires. And I think that Angelina Jolie, she was successful, I think, in hurting Brad Pitt. I think that his likability has taken a hit, but I think that hers has as well. And so don't play that game. It usually takes out everybody. I think Pablo Larraín is the director here. He's made so many movies like this. He did Jackie O. He did Spencer, about Diana Spencer, Princess Diana. And now he did Maria. And they're just such obvious Oscar plays for the leading actress. And I think it's just gotten old already. So I'm actually very happy with this snub. All right, then next, Jamie Lee Curtis. She just won. Don't feel bad for Jamie Lee Curtis. But, because SAG had nominated her for Best Supporting and the actors are such a big voting block in the Academy, it was a little surprising to see her left out here. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, it's more of a surprise. But I think, it's funny, Devin, you say thank goodness. I'm sure Jamie Lee Curtis, to a degree, is also happy. She doesn't need to get in here. She already just won a controversial win over Angela Bassett. I think she's fine. Mr. Magic, you say she only shot for 3 days, but in fact, the Last Showgirl, the entire movie was shot in less than a month, which I think is actually very impressive. It's a great movie, and I'm sad to see some other snubs from it. All right, then, Daniel Craig. I hope this brings an end to people, straight actors, taking roles from LGBTQ talent in the hopes of getting a nomination. I felt that Daniel Craig, while he had a nice monologue, I felt that Daniel Craig missed a lot of the nuance of this role, particularly after I talked to those of you. I did a live review for this, and you guys gave me some really interesting perspective on, things that Daniel Craig, he could have done the research, maybe like another actor, like Daniel Day-Lewis would maybe have picked up on these nuances. But, it used to be back in the day, and that wasn't that long ago, that actors could just, put themselves out there. And even if they didn't do a good job, they were just so brave for doing it that they would get a nomination anyway. You used to be able to put on a fake nose and and a lot of crazy makeup and de-glam and get a nomination. Nicole Kidman, there's, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but if you look into some of the history of Oscars, you'll know that for a while there, actresses would win by de-glamming. It was like a trend. And so I don't think Daniel Craig was very good in this movie. I don't think the movie's very good. And I have to say, Challengers was also snubbed, which we'll talk about in a moment, but I wonder if Luca Guadagnino, who was caught racing out of the Golden Globes early, as soon as he found out that Challengers didn't win, I think that maybe some people felt that was really just not appropriate. I don't know how many people saw that, but I thought that was not appropriate behavior on Luca Guadagnino's part. I love Luca Guadagnino, but if I were his publicist or agent or manager, I'd say, don't ever do that again. All right. Then Denzel Washington. I mean, let's be honest, it's a horrible movie. I know some of you like the movie. Nobody could say it's a great movie. And Denzel Washington, of course, has 2 Oscars. So he's fine. And, he says he doesn't have too many roles left. I hope they're in better movies than this one, although he was very good in it, even though I feel that the script let him down ultimately. But I wouldn't expect him to be nominated. I don't even know if I would categorize this as a snub, because he just had to fill some space, I think, in other awards shows that have too many nominees. But some new actors, or new, not necessarily new generation, but new actors into the space also got snubbed. I feel very bad for Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson did a lovely job, and she's done a lovely job campaigning. She's got the SAG nomination. She had the Golden Globe nom. I believe Critics' Choice. So it's particularly surprising that every other award show on the face of the earth nominated her, but not the Oscars. And she's quite good in this movie. She's very good in this movie. I mean, I feel bad that she was snubbed. I see some of you are happy about it. Oh, why you gotta be bad about Pamela Anderson? So yeah, pretty big snub. And she did just a lovely job in the movie. But she has the Naked Gun remake this summer. Pamela Anderson hopefully will continue to work. Margaret Qualley, for The Substance. The Substance got a lot of recognition, which is very exciting. But the only actor, there are 3 main actors. I did not realize that this was shot in France, which is very interesting to me. One of you pointed out that this is this year's Anatomy of a Fall, which also had a female writer-director in Justine Triet. That got a lot of nominations and a win, I believe, for screenplay at the Oscars last year. But The Substance is not only a French film to some degree, but it was shot in France as an excellent substitute for Los Angeles. And they just basically flew out 3 Hollywood actors to France, Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid, and it was extremely effective. So that's a really good lesson in how to make a low-budget film, in your backyard. Because it's cheaper to fly out just the talent and put them up in a house maybe. You don't even have to necessarily put them in a hotel if they feel that the movie will be beneficial to their careers. If an actor, this is a side note, if an actor feels that your movie could help them career-wise, they'll take a little less money. They won't ask to stay in a 4 to 5 star hotel. So, actors are looking for that great project. And of course, The Substance has ended up, I think, helping all these careers. But Margaret Qualley, while she's been nominated in other places, not nominated here. Selena Gomez, Emilia Perez leads the nominations, but Selena Gomez was left out. Of course, I gotta tell you, I like Selena Gomez. I think she has an incredible personality. She has a great on-screen persona, but I don't think she's the greatest actress, I'm sorry to say. I mean, come on, she's a billionaire. Don't worry about Selena Gomez. But I do feel that for some reason she keeps getting like kind of insulted. I'm like, I mean, it's just, yeah, that's how I would say Mr. Magic. She gets no respect. And, I know that a lot of people felt that maybe her performance was subpar, but people have the complaint about the entire movie of Emilia Perez. And yet it didn't stop it from getting lots of nominations. So I'm like, why is it always got to be Selena Gomez? Why is she always got to take the hit? But yeah, she's a billionaire with a hit TV show. Don't worry about it. All right, then director. Quite a couple of director snubs. And in fact, everybody who's nominated in this year in the category, it was pointed out, is a first-time nominee for director. So that's very exciting. But some people got left out. Denis Villeneuve, yet again. And people always say when a director gets left out, they say, do they think the movie directed itself? Well, no. But I think, it's like Don Draper so famously or infamously said, the money is the reward. And these guys have really successful, five nominees. Not everybody gets nominated. And we'll see if there's anybody we would have taken out. But yeah, that's funny, Mika. He's the new Nolan. That's what his agent should tell him when he's all depressed. I'd be like, Nolan was also constantly snubbed, Denis. Your time will come. But yeah, so let's see what happens with Dune Messiah. Maybe that'll help him out there. John Chu, who's not even being paid attention to in this photo, which is why I think it's so hilarious. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are like, is he even talking? But he did an incredible job directing this movie. He did an incredible job. Who knew he had it in him? This guy directed Gem and G.I. Joe 2. The fact that he was able to deliver Wicked is kind of shocking. Let's see what happens with Wicked for Good, the second part. Maybe that'll help him. But, I just think what he won here was respect as a director. Where you're like, oh, wow, maybe he actually does know what he's doing. But just like Greta Gerwig, he's in a little bit of, they're very similar. They're walking a very similar path. No one thought either one of them could do it. Then they ended up doing an amazing job, better than you ever could imagine. But yet both of them are really tied up with their next projects. Greta Gerwig is unfortunately already committed to do Narnia next, which I think was unfortunate. I think it's great to have the deal to do Narnia, but the fact that there was a timetable on it kind of sucks. And then John Chu is too stuck getting Wicked for Good, the second part, ready for release in November. So he also, is a little, but he has the Britney Spears bio. That's right, LP. He has the Britney Spears biography, so that's going to be pretty incredible. I have to say, I have a lot of respect for John Chu. He had the very successful Crazy Rich Asians, and what he was able to line up out of that, I think is just absolutely incredible. I mean, his business hat is really impressive. All right, then Edward Berger, the director of All Quiet on the Western Front, that remake, who did Conclave, was also left out. That's unfortunate. It's a fantastic film, but it has lots of nominations, so he doesn't have to feel too bad. He's the director of an incredibly successful movie. Apparently, he was going to maybe do Ocean's 14 with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, although after Wolf's flopped, I'd be afraid to take that on. But he's going to do great. Edward Berger, his next project's going to be really phenomenal. I'm not worried about Edward Berger. I mean, he'll be at the Oscars. His movie has a ton of nominations. It's fine. But then challengers. Yeah, I told you that. Luca Guadagnino, don't storm out, man. Challengers, totally snubbed. Not even for best score, which of course it won at the Golden Globes. But I think Challengers was a long time ago. When you release your movie really early, you take a risk. And that's just the problem with that. You have to just understand that you're taking a risk. Also, I think it's a very modern film. And I think that while the Academy has become more current, I still don't think they're this current. I think that Luca Guadagnino, I thought one of the coolest things about Challengers was that it so perfectly captured, the social media online zeitgeist. Twitter or X and TikTok and Instagram. I thought the Challengers captured that beautifully. Although, let's give a shout out to female producers. Zendaya produced this movie, and also I'd like to say that A Real Pain, which I actually don't think is a particularly good movie, it's okay, but A Real Pain was produced by Emma Stone, and Emma Stone is very popular in Hollywood. And I suspect that Emma Stone has been doing a lot of campaigning behind the scenes for A Real Pain, and that's why it has the 2 nominations that it does, and probably why it's a frontrunner in Best Supporting Actor. That's right, Psycho. Amy Pascal also produced Challengers, and good for her. Amy Pascal rose like a phoenix out of the ashes of the email scandal. Remember how upset Angelina Jolie was with her when she said she was a no-talent Nepo baby? Whew, hilarious. Amy Pascal. Don't put it in writing if you don't want it to get out there. All right. Then, that's right, Kate Winslet didn't get in there either. But we're just happy. I'm happy that didn't work out. Some people said Nosferatu was snubbed. I don't think so. Nosferatu got the craft nominations that I expected that it would. I don't think Robert Eggers is there yet. Robert Eggers made a ton of money. He got Werewolf in Old English for his next picture. He's doing extremely well. And the fact that Nosferatu got any nominations at all is incredible. So I wouldn't count this as a snub, even though I saw some people say that it was snubbed. No. And I'm glad a lot of you ended up liking the acting for this. 1 second. I'm glad a lot of you enjoyed... Let's see. Yeah, I'm glad a lot of you enjoyed the acting in Nosferatu, but I'll be honest with you, I thought that it was the weakest element. All right. I think people felt that it was snubbed, Isaac, for director, acting categories, and I'm like, was it? I mean, and I loved the movie. So if I really advocate strong for that movie, I don't think it was snubbed at all. All right, now before we get to the nominations themselves, one last thing. Nominations by picture, baby. All right. Let me get my little arrow. Where'd it go? All right, so Emilia Perez, the movie that everybody hates apparently online, but yet the industry seems to love. Emilia Perez, 13 nominations, the most of any film. I think Song has really pushed it over the top, because it has 2 nominations in Best Song. And an incredible historic nomination for Gascon as the first trans actor nominated in the category that they transitioned into. So that's a very big deal. We'll see if Emilia Perez actually wins anything. I think the haters are working very hard. As I said, one of my favorite memes out there is Domhnall Gleeson from Star Wars, redoing his line saying, "I don't care who wins, I just need Emilia Perez." The fandom just needs Emilia Perez to lose. If I were the Academy, I would not, I think that the criticism of Emilia Perez is very compelling. And I think the Academy, Hollywood has a lot of problems with the general public these days. And this would just, why add another one to the pile? I wouldn't be surprised if maybe at the end of the day, the only 2 wins that it actually gets are probably maybe Zoe Saldana and one of the best original songs for El Mal. That's probably the 2 that I think will take it. Now, it seems like it's Emilia Perez versus The Brutalist, just like it was at the Golden Globes. But of course, the voting for nominations closed before the AI scandal erupted for Brutalist. So and Emilia Perez also got caught up in that AI scandal. So I'll be very curious to see if if maybe we end up getting some surprises for the actual wins. This is done in alphabetical order, by the way. But I'm so happy to see Wicked with 10 nominations. That's just incredible. I'm so happy for the movie. It's an incredible film, and I'm so nervous it's going to be another Barbie. Barbie was such a big hit, but I think that people really ended up hating on it, like the Ugly Stepsisters tearing at Cinderella's ball gown, and have really shredded the reputation of that movie very effectively. We're just 1 year later. And I think that Barbie has a very different image, unfortunately, when looking back, which I find very sad. And I don't want to see that happen to Wicked. I don't remember how many nominations Barbie got. That's a good point. Let me see how many nominations Barbie got. Barbie movie. Hold on, I gotta look it up. Eight. So that's really exciting. So Wicked even got more. 8 Academy Award nominations. Oh, some of you had it already there. Okay. All right, then I think that, A Complete Unknown has 8 and Conclave has 8. I must say that this top 5, I think, is exceptional. I'm extremely happy with these top 5 movies. I think 2024 looks pretty darn good as a year of cinema. I think that Conclave, A Complete Unknown, Wicked, The Brutalist, and, Emilia Perez certainly, I think, speaks to the moment that we're in, both the positive and the negative. I'm sorry, I thought Honora is only okay. We'll get to that in a moment. But I think if you had a box set of these 5 movies to represent 2024, I think you would be in very good shape. Honora, let's see how Honora fares. It certainly does have 6 nominations. Dune Part 2 has 5. The Substance. What an incredible year for horror. Just absolutely incredible that The Substance as a horror film has broken through like this. That's very, very exciting. And, we'll see what the genre, what lessons they learn from that and what kind of horror films are inspired by this. That's just very, very exciting. Nosferatu has 4. I'm Still Here has 3, which is Brazil. Yay, Brazil! Woohoo! I know you guys are very excited. Sing Sing has 3. The Wild Robot has 3. The Apprentice has 2. I'm very happy about that. Flow has 2. Nickel Boys has 2. And Real Pain has 2. So that's phenomenal. All right, so let's go through. Now it's time to play everyone's favorite game, Who Should Win, Who Will Win. And of course, I invite you to play along below, either in the live chat, or if you're not watching this live, or if you're not a member, you can play, of course, in the comments down below. All right, so here we go. This is going to be great. All right, so I don't have every single category in here. I don't have like Best Documentary and Best Documentary Short. I don't have Live Action Short, but I have all the major categories. All right, so we're going to play Who Should Win and Who Will Win. So for Best Picture, they don't have to go up to 10. They can go anywhere from 5 to 10, but this year they went with the full 10. So you can see all the, thank you, Aralysis. You can see all the competitors there. I think movies that have multiple nominations have the best chance. I think that as for who should win, I would have said a while ago The Brutalist, but I'm so disappointed in what happened with the AI for that film that I would pull my vote, and that's right, Nacho Flores, I would go with Conclave. Again, I love Wicked, but it's just not going to win this. It's just not going to win. Conclave is an incredible movie. Hey, thank you, Amy. It brought me back to having my own interaction with faith and thinking about faith again, and maybe being, I think a lot of people, there have been issues with organized religion that have arisen. Hey, thank you, Lucas. I think that Conclave is so well done, and there was a big brouhaha over the national prayer thing, the other day for the inauguration. And I can understand where that bishop was coming from, but I think that Conclave presents a similar argument in, I think, a more nuanced and I think, better packed. I think it's more effective in a similar message. I think Conclave is a beautiful movie. I highly recommend that you check it out. I think that it's just wonderful. And it's also become very funny because Conclave, people are saying that just like the bishops or the cardinals are being taken out by the politics of it, it's almost like they're doing that with the awards, the Oscar contenders. So I think that's very funny. So yes, Conclave is an incredible, incredible movie. I think there's a very strong chance it only wins Best Screenplay, but I'd like to see it win Best Picture. As for who will win, now, hold on, what am I? Okay, as for who will win, you would think it might be Emilia Perez because it has the most nominations, and that usually is a good sign as to who will actually win. So it could be Emilia Perez. I think it's going to be Emilia Perez, The Brutalist, or Conclave. I think Conclave legitimately has a chance. But I think it's between those 3 movies. Emilia Perez, The Brutalist, or if AI really, if If for some reason they don't if they don't hold the AI against the Brutalist, if Brady Corbett was able to stamp that out by saying it was minimal, maybe it would be okay. But I do think, as Rob Wall just pointed out, that the AI scandal really benefits Conclave's chances. So we'll see. I think it's between these three movies, though: Emilia Perez, The Brutalist, and Conclave. So we'll see who actually wins. All right. Then, as next category, actor in a leading role. I'm so happy to see Sebastian Stan here. This is the best thing that ever happened to him. I can't believe it. And, we've talked about Marvel actors and what happens to them and how they struggle outside of the franchise. But Sebastian Stan, and, I thought that I didn't like Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, as you know. I thought he was actually the worst person in that movie, and I thought it was a very poor performance. But he won, and then he ran right back to Marvel. But I think that Sebastian Stan has been making this sort of film for a while now. And also, I think I'm so happy because nobody would talk to him in Actors on Actors for the Variety thing. And I'm glad he spoke up about it. And it made me watch the movie. And I was really actually very impressed with The Apprentice and his performance. And I'm really so happy to see him here. Part of me would like to see him win. In fact, as much as I like everybody else here, Ralph Fiennes has never won an Oscar, and I like Timothée Chalamet quite a bit, but he's so early in his career. I think that Sebastian Stan has a great story here. As I've said so many times before, the people who, it's all about, what narrative do you craft when you're doing your Oscar campaign? And it's probably, Mr. Andrews, he's probably not going to win. I think he's probably not, should win. He's probably not going to win. I think the nomination itself is a win. But I'm just very, very, very impressed, with his commitment to this role, the job that he does. It's a great story. I liked he gave a great speech at the Golden Globes, which I think helped him. So I'd really, really like to see him win. I don't think he will, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possible. I don't think it's impossible, because he won the Golden Globe for a different role. Interestingly enough, he won for A Different Man. But I think that it would be great if he won. Now, as for who will win, before the AI scandal, I would have said it would be Adrien Brody. But I'm not sure who it's going to be. I'm not sure. I think that the AI scandal is extremely bad, particularly because it affected his accent. I think it just calls into question the entire performance. I think there's some chance. I think that's going to knock him out, to be honest with you. I wouldn't feel comfortable voting for him, particularly because SAG is so nervous about AI, and they went on strike for AI. The whole reason they did this was they were upset about AI, and then look at what happened. So I think it'll knock him out. He already has an Oscar. I think it's going to knock him out. I mean, he could win, but I think it's going to knock him out. So that, to me, says, do you give it to Ralph Fiennes because he's never won? I'm sure he will have other, I don't think he's like, Ralph Fiennes isn't on the verge of retirement. I think Timothée Chalamet has a real shot. I know some of you are saying Coleman Domingo. I don't think Coleman Domingo will win. Maybe he will. Maybe we'll all be pleasantly surprised. I think everybody here did a great job. But I think that Timothée Chalamet is a wonderful performer. I think that somebody pointed out he's been in so many Oscar-nominated movies at this point. He does his own singing. I just think he's just really, really phenomenal. And so I think there's a chance he could win. The Academy historically has loved an ingenue, a female ingenue. You've seen so many, Brie Larson, Jennifer Lawrence, Anne Hathaway. They love to anoint a future star. And I think that Timothée Chalamet, we don't see that too many with male actors, but I think Timothée Chalamet is really great. I think it's between these three: Adrien Brody, Timothée Chalamet, and Ralph Fiennes. Okay. Next category. Actress in a leading role. All right, so this is tough. Both Golden Globe winners are here: Demi Moore and Fernanda Torres, who, of course, is the last Brazilian actress to be nominated. Again, her mother. So this is pretty incredible. They both won the Golden Globe. There was some question as to whether or not Fernanda Torres would even be nominated when SAG snubbed her. But she came in, I think maybe, that luckily happened while they were still voting for the Oscars. And I think there's some chance that people were like, oh, we better, we don't want that to happen at the Oscars. So as for who should win, I told you I'd really like to see Cynthia Erivo take it. But I don't know. She has so little chance of taking it. I don't know if she should win. I'm going to go with so I really think there's a good chance it's between these two. I don't think Carlos Sofia Gascon is going to win. I think the fact that she was nominated as a trans actress in her category is the win. I'm going to go with Demi Moore. That's who I think should win. I thought Demi Moore did give a lovely speech. I think that she's not a great actress. She wasn't a great actress even in The Substance when I watched it. I'm like, you still can't act. But she was fine. I think it was a brave performance. I think that what it said was really important. I think she took Nicole Kidman's spot. I think that The Substance and Baby Girl are very much about similar things. So I'd like to see her win. I think she did. I think it was a really incredible performance, and I think it was an important performance. Now, as for who will win, I think it's between these two ladies. I think it's between Demi Moore and I think it's between and Fernanda Torres. I think it might be Fernanda Torres because she can actually act. I know some of you would think, if you think Demi Moore can act, I don't think you watch enough acting. I think a lot of that is the role itself and not getting in its way. I would also argue to some degree that Demi Moore is supporting. I don't know if Demi Moore is even the lead. I think that, Margaret Qualley actually, I think, has the most screen time in that film. But yeah, I think it's going to be between these two women, Demi Moore and Fernanda Torres. Mickey Madison, wonderful that she's been nominated. I don't see her winning. You never know, though. I just said Hollywood loves an ingenue. So, it could be an upset win. All right, so next category. Supporting actor. Now, who will win? It's probably going to be Kieran Culkin, who I've said before, every single person in this category does a better job than Kieran Culkin. Yura Borisov from Anora, Edward Norton from A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce in The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice. Every single one of them is better than Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. So it's frustrating to me that he's probably going to win it. It's great for all these guys' careers. They've been nominated. As some of you were pointing out, Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong are, of course, both from Succession, both nominated in the same category, which has happened to them before. I think Jeremy Strong was considered lead in Succession. As for who should win, I still feel it should be Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, but I don't think that's going to happen. Just the fact that he was nominated, I think, is enough. So I'm going to go. I think Jeremy Strong. I don't know how much people like Jeremy Strong. His performance, personally, I think Jeremy Strong was so good in The Apprentice. So incredibly good that it rises above that he might be a little bit abrasive in his persona in real life. But I'm going to go with Edward Norton. I think Edward Norton, I believe, has also never won an Oscar. And I think he did a really nice job in A Complete Unknown. So I would really like to see him win. He's who I would probably give it to, who I think would be a good choice. But really, anybody but Kieran Culkin would be a great choice. He's the weakest. And I like Kieran Culkin. I'm a fan of Kieran Culkin. But he's very weak in this film. As I said before, he's just doing a Zach Galifianakis impersonation. All right, then next category, actress in a supporting role. Ariana! Woohoo, I love Ariana. I think she should win it. I think without a question, Ariana Grande should win it. Wait, by the way, though, Monica Barbaro being nominated for A Complete Unknown is huge. She's very good in the movie. I don't know if she's, nomination worthy, but it's incredible for her career. I'm surprised she got it over Margaret Qualley, but she did. I think that, so Ariana Grande, I think is so important for Wicked. I think she just does an incredible job. I think it's a two-hander. I do think it really is Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande together, but I think in terms if I had to pick one of them, I think Ariana Grande was a scooch better. I think she makes that movie fun. And I think that she just knocked it out of the park. But I think, she might be the new Margot Robbie. At least she got nominated. But I think, it's just hard to win because the movie is just so successful, and she's so new. I mean, like, it's her first big movie. Do you win right out of the gate? That's hard to do. I'm just glad she wasn't snubbed. That's right. She is this year's Ryan Gosling, Nacho Flores. I mean, she's just incredible. Robert, I'm so glad you joined the channel and you can be in the chat. So who will win? By the way, Felicity Jones. People were worried that she would not get nominated because The Brutalist was so long and she doesn't appear until the second half of the movie. But I'm glad she was nominated. She has such a killer scene in that movie. She deserves the nomination. But Zoe Saldana. I think Zoe Saldana will win. I think Zoe Saldana has been, has such a big career in Hollywood. I think Zoe Saldana has been in Avatar. She has been in the Marvel movies. And she just never really gets any respect for the work that she does. And I think, I think I think this is it's her time kind of situation. And by the way, they did not have any category fraud. They didn't switch them. They didn't switch and put Zoe Saldana in lead. So I think Ariana Grande gave the better performance, but I can understand a Zoe Saldana win. I think you'll see Ariana Grande back here, especially if she gets that Audrey Hepburn biography that we all think she should do. Go make the Audrey Hepburn biography. I bet maybe she could get it, but just don't make it a Pablo Larraín type movie. But yeah, so that's how I think this is going to break down. Ariana Grande is going to have a great time. She's probably going to have an amazing dress. She's going to walk the red carpet. She's probably going to sing. It's going to be great. All right, next category. Directing. All right, so just 5 nominees, baby. I think in Critics' Choice we had like 8, and I'm like, what? You guys, not everybody can be nominated. I mean, not everybody can win. So let's start with the nominations. So everybody here is a first-time nominee in this category, and I'm so happy to see a female director here with Coralie Farge for The Substance. She's not going to win, and I got to tell you, I don't think she's ready to win. I think she's a very new director, and I think it shows in her work. As I said after I watched The Substance, that it felt very much like a short film that had been expanded, not totally successfully, into a feature. And some of you pointed out that was exactly what happened. So the nomination, again, it's one of those things where the nomination is the win. That's right, James Mangold is also a bit of a snub. But I have to say, James Mangold, oh no, he is here. Yeah, that's who I would take out. Yeah, I would have taken him out and put in Edward Berger, probably. Sorry, John Chu. Yeah, Mangold shouldn't be here. I'm surprised he's here. A Complete Unknown is not a particularly well-directed film. I mean, obviously, somebody directed it, and it's a great movie, but he didn't do anything particularly interesting with it. So I would have put in Edward Berger here, or maybe Denis Villeneuve. Because, I think that Dune Part 2 was particularly inventive. But yeah, I would take James Mangold out of there for sure. So who should win? I was all Team Brady Corbett until that AI debacle. I'm disappointed in Brady Corbett that he didn't take the AI out. I'm disappointed that he signed off on it. It really gives me a problem with him. And I don't think that I can reward it. So, damn. That makes this category suck. So, who would I give it to? God damn it. I guess I give it to Coralie Farge, even though I just said all that bad stuff about her. Yeah, I mean, at least she's the most inventive of the directing group here. I thought she did a nice job. I'd like to see a woman win. And I don't want to see Emilia. I think that Jacques Audiard was so disrespectful in so many ways with Emilia Perez. I would have such a hard time giving him the Oscar. I thought he was just so dismissive of, again, Mexican culture. He too signed off on AI. I just had a lot of problems with it, a big problem. And then as for Anora, I don't think that's much of a movie. I applaud the idea of a realistic take on Pretty Women, but it's just not much. There's just not much there, I'm sorry to say. As for who will win, it's probably going to be Brady Corbett. And if the AI scandal didn't exist, I would agree with that. But I have a real problem with him signing off on AI. But yeah, so I think that Brady Corbett probably will win. If you take out the AI situation, I mean, he by far and away did the best job as a director. By far. Psycho, the Academy has not already voted for Bertie Corbett because they have not cast a single vote. Voting has not opened yet for the Oscars for who should win. These are just the nominations. I'm sure it'll open very soon, but they have not opened the voting for winners. All right, so AI really ruins this category. All right, next. Original screenplay. Now that means that it's not based on any other previous work. So this is tough too. September 5th was considered such a frontrunner, and it only really walked away with this one nomination. Who should win? Again, I think it should be The Brutalist, but I'm upset about the AI. Damn it, I'm going to go to The Substance. He can't win director and writing. Poop. Poop, 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 poop. All right, I guess I'll go Jesse Eisenberg. All right. And I think he is the one, by the way, who will win. I think he'll win. I think he for sure will win, almost, for sure. I think that Jesse Eisenberg's been working for a long time. I think that the industry, I don't think any of these movies are particularly well written, to be honest with you. This is a weak category. But I think, I think they want to see Jesse Eisenberg up there with an Oscar. And I think that, I think as for who will win, it'll be either Jesse Eisenberg or maybe Coralie Farge for The Substance. There is a real chance she might win here. And I don't think she's going to win director, even though I think that's who I would give it to. But I think that it's going to go to one of these two, The Substance or A Real Pain. My money would be on A Real Pain, but we'll see. All right. Then next category is Best Adapted Screenplay. And that means it's based on previous works. So who should win here? I mean, I think it's pretty clear who's going to win and who should win and who will win. That's right, Orlando. Conclave. Conclave should win. Conclave will win. It's an incredibly well-written screenplay. It won the Golden Globe. It has so many amazing monologues from so many different perspectives. Again, if you haven't seen Conclave, I highly recommend you check it out. It's an amazing movie, and the writing is superb. So I think it should win, and I think it will win in this category for sure. It might end up, that's right, Vitor, there's a very good chance it's the only Oscar that it wins. Wicked, Junior 6288, you're preaching to the choir. I would have liked to have seen Wicked here. I thought Wicked was a very well-written screenplay, but it just didn't get nominated. All right, then, costume design. Should win and will win, no question. Paul Tazewell for Wicked. Without a doubt. Nosferatu, I'm very happy to see Nosferatu here, but it's going to be Wicked. Paul Tazewell, this is the one Oscar that Wicked, I think, has in the bag. This guy did an incredible job with the research. I think the way he put together he not only did multiple costumes for his two leads that were extremely detailed, but he also did costumes for every single extra. And it was just an incredible job. Please go watch the short on YouTube, the behind the scenes short on the work that he did. And he worked on The Wiz. He has a long history with this story, The Wizard of Oz, and it was just beautiful. Again, I've told you, that you campaign for Oscars, you have to have a story to tell. His story is incredible. This is definite. I'm happy everybody else was nominated, but he's going to win. All right. Next category. Okay, don't worry. We'll go to the other ones. Next up, Best Animated Feature Film. Now, somebody asked me what it meant with nominees to be determined. So you can only have so many nominees for an Oscar. They won't give an Oscar to everybody. For instance, I believe for Best Picture, you can only have 3 people who get the Oscar. And so there are often many producers on a film. So they have to decide who did the most work and who gets to get the Oscar if it wins. So the reason that Flo says nominees to be determined is that they haven't decided yet who would get the Oscar if the film were to win. So that's the issue there. Now, as for who should win, I told you I really liked Inside Out 2. I'd love to see Inside Out 2 win. But I think that I'm still going to go with it. I still think it should be Inside Out 2. As for who will win, I mean, obviously it's going to be Flo or The Wild Robot. It's going to be between those two. Flo or Wild Robot. I would have said before the Golden Globes that The Wild Robot had this in the bag, but the fact that Flo won at the Golden Globes makes me feel there's a very good chance that it could win. So I think it'll be Flo or The Wild Robot. It's between those two, and I would give. Steve says pick one. I would give Flo the edge. All right. Then next up, Best International Film. I think it's not too surprising who's here. This is who a lot of people expected. I think that should win, will win, and it'll be I'm Still Here. I think that movie is on a real roll. Brazil, you guys, Brazil on social media. Thank goodness for I'm Still Here that you guys got back on X Twitter, because you guys are very active on social media. I think Brazil has done a wonderful job getting people excited for this win or potential win. And I just think that's very cool. Emilia Perez might win and not get Best Picture. Sometimes the Oscars do that. Sometimes the Oscars will, zig instead of zag. And to get out of having to give Emilia Perez Best Picture, they'll give it Best International Feature Film, and then somebody else will take Best Picture. Sometimes you win both. You never know. So let's see what happens. Enrique's convinced it's going to be Emilia Perez. All right, we're getting down to the bottom categories here. Then next up, Original Score. This is a tough one. I'm surprised that Wicked has original score. I guess they wrote additional music for the movie. Again, I'd like to give it to The Brutalist. I thought The Brutalist had really incredible music. I'd probably still give it to The Brutalist. I don't think AI was used there at all, and I just think it's better music. It's a better score than the rest of these. As for who will win, it might be The Wild Robot, but I think it might be The Brutalist as well. The Brutalist score is very strong, very strong. And that's right, Challengers was knocked out, so this category is now wide open. So I would go with either The Wild Robot or The Brutalist as for who actually will win. All right. Then next, Original Song. Not a great group of songs. I can see that's what they were like, let's not sing these on stage. I think everybody was like, thank you for not making me have to sit through all this. So Emilia Perez has 2 noms. The 6888 Diane Warren was nominated yet again. And then Like a Bird from Sing Sing. And then Never Too Late, Elton John from the Elton John Story. That's crazy. Maybe I think it's going to be El Mal, and I'm just going to go with Should Win, Will Win. I think that everybody says that's the best song in Emilia Perez. I think it's actually in the movie, which is always very important to me. So I think that that's going to win. I think that's a pretty easy, I think you can feel pretty safe about that prediction. All right, then, Best Cinematography. This is tough. Greg Fraser nominated yet again for Dune, although he did a lot of the special effects in that movie in camera. So that's really, really impressive. Nosferatu, though. I'm so happy that Nosferatu is nominated here. Isn't that exciting? Greg Fraser already has won before, though. Greg Fraser has won a lot. I got to tell you, I'd like to see Nosferatu take it. I'd like to see Nosferatu get something. I would like Nosferatu to have a win. And I think that the cinematography on Nosferatu was incredible. So I think I would give it to Nosferatu. As for who will win, I think it's The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, maybe Nosferatu. Maybe. I think it's between these 3. I'd probably knock out Dune because I believe that Greg Fraser already won for Dune. So I'd go between The Brutalist and Nosferatu. The Brutalist has amazing cinematography, so it just depends how much AI really hurts that movie. I gotta say, if The Brutalist still walks home with a lot of Oscars, the Hollywood's gonna look pretty stupid for going on strike for so long to fight AI, only to have it become a major thing right away. All right, then, visual effects. Deadpool and Wolverine, not nominated, fascinatingly. No Marvel movies here, although Disney did get in 2 movies with Fox, with Alien Romulus and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, as for me, I told you I would go with Wicked. I thought Wicked had incredible VFX. I think people forget that it has a lot of VFX. You think Cynthia Erivo can actually fly? That entire cape was CGI. I think Wicked should win. I don't think it's going to win, but I think it's wonderful that it got nominated. As for who will win, I got to tell you, I think there's a good chance that A Better Man could win. I think that I watched that movie. I thought it started out incredible, but then I thought it just turned into your standard biography by the end. But the visual effects on the lead performance with Robbie Williams, depicted as a monkey, was really incredible. I was really, really impressed with the acting and the subtlety and the movements that they were able to capture with that performance. So I think there's a chance that it might actually win. So I think that's a very solid chance. So yeah, very, very strong. I think it's amazing that it was nominated. All right. Then we've got makeup and hairstyling. Yes, Beetlejuice was left off, but look at the competition. I mean, why would it be in here? Makeup and hairstyling. I think it's really, as for who should win, I mean, it's clearly between The Substance and Nosferatu. And you got to give it to The Substance. I'm sorry, Nosferatu. I'm glad that it was nominated, but you got to give makeup and hairstyling to The Substance. How can you not? They had so many practical effects there. I mean, it just got so disgusting at the end of the movie. I mean, if you see it, you're like, what am I looking at? Is that what I think it is? It is. My God. And it was practical. It was really well done. It's going to be The Substance. And I think that it should be The Substance. That's right, Oralysis. Look at me giving all these wins to The Substance. And I thought it was medium, but I thought it was certainly very interesting. All right. We just have a few categories, just like 1 or 2 categories left. Hold on. All right. Yeah, we have 1 category left. Production design. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a toughie. This is very hard. Now, production design, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, production design is for building the sets, creating the world of the film. That's what a production designer does. They work very closely with the director to bring the world of the movie to life. Now, if there wasn't for Nosferatu, I would say that Wicked had this in the bag as well. But I don't know. I think all of these movies are very strong. The Brutalist, I would be worried that it was AI. I'd be like, we just don't know it's AI. I'd be scared to give the win to The Brutalist because I think a lot of it looks so unusual and has such an austere, cold look to it that I kind of feel it might actually be, AI. So I'm nervous about that. So I wouldn't feel comfortable voting for that. Conclave was able to create the feeling that you were in the Vatican, even though you're not allowed to film in the Vatican. That's amazing. That's all thanks to the production design team. So I think it deserves the nomination, but I don't think they went far enough to have it actually win. Dune Part 2, amazing. But I think that Nosferatu and Wicked just are a step above because both of them are practical. Both Nosferatu and Wicked built their sets, or at least large parts of the sets, and they filled in some of the blanks with AI. Not AI. They're like, don't get us in trouble. They filled in some of the blanks with visual effects. Dune built some sets as well. But I think, we already celebrated Dune. I think didn't Dune win production design last time for the first film? I just think that Nosferatu and Wicked just are a little bit further. Yeah, Davey says it did. It already won for production design. So I think it's fine. I think as for who should win, I think it's between Nosferatu and Wicked. And if I were voting here, I'm sorry, Wicked fans, I would give it to Nosferatu. I thought that Nosferatu was just incredible. I thought that it was so different than a lot that we've seen. I thought what they did for their budget was just incredible. I was really impressed with Nosferatu. And I would like to see, again, as I said, for Nosferatu to go home with something. I mean, if you watch Nosferatu, the world that they created was just incredible. And Wicked is going to take costume design, so I feel like that's fair. But I think it'll be between these two as for who will actually win. I think it'll be Nosferatu or it will be Wicked. If Wicked takes this, you should be scared. If Wicked takes this award and costume design, it means that they're not going to give Wicked any major awards, which makes me very nervous. That's what they. That's Mike. That's funny. Yosferatu. Yeah. But yeah, I'm with Faye. I'd be happy with either one of these. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And it's an honor to be nominated. But I think it'll be between these two. All right. So let me go back to Best Picture, and we'll do our 5-minute Q&A. But that's my breakdown. Oh, look, it took us an hour, even just going through it. Okay. So we're back to Best Picture. Let's do the Q&A. And we'll do 5 minutes. So till 1:20, let's just do till 1:30. That's like 6 minutes. Thanks, Joshua. I'm glad you enjoyed the breakdown. Psycho, I'm worried about Wicked too. There's a very good chance that Wicked only walks away with craft awards. No, CM, I'm not going to predict editing or best sound. Future movie actor likes Mi Camino better than El Mal. Maybe. I think it'll be Emilia Perez song for sure. Jose says, do you think Dune would have gotten more nominations if it had been released in late 2024? No, it got a lot of nominations and wins for the first movie. I think that, it's great that it got a lot of nominations. I think that Dune performed as I would have anticipated. Sana says, do you think it should be mandatory for movies to include a message saying no generative AI has been used, like Heretic did? We need transparency. That's a great idea, Sana. I would love to see them do that. I think I would advocate for full disclosure on AI usage. I think it must be disclosed. Now, let's see if anybody agrees to do that. I think probably not. So that would again have to be the basis for some sort of strike in the future, where they demand that AI, full transparency on the usage of AI. Jeremiah says, what should Coralie do next? The person behind the substance. I'm not sure. I'm sure she's fielding a lot of offers. I'd like to see her work within Hollywood. I think that's what her next step should be. She made this movie outside of Hollywood. I'd like to see her step inside of Hollywood and start working with the studios, even if it's like A24 or somebody like that. Robert says if Zoe wasn't in the category for Best Supporting, that he would give it to Ariana. Yeah, I think Zoe is who's standing in Ariana's way. Benji, do you mean War of the Rohirrim? That movie was awful. I'm not surprised it was snubbed. So was Moana 2, which I liked. But, this is the Oscar. It has to have an artistic quality to it. Cosmic movies, I don't think Joker 2 deserved anything at all. Not at all. And Sarah Challengers was totally snubbed. Future movie actor is wondering if Emilia Perez being Netflix affects its chances. Maybe a scooch. I mean, it certainly didn't hurt it at the Golden Globes. Elise says, Best Picture, Wicked. It's not impossible. Gladiator back in the day, like 25 years ago, won Best Picture. It could happen. That would be incredible. If Wicked walked away with Best Picture, that would be a real game changer for Hollywood. I'd be happy. I think it deserves it. I think it's an incredible movie. I don't see it happening, but I'd be happy if it did. Dancing Dog 60 says, John Chu, a former dancer, directed the best of the Step Up films. He did a great job on Wicked and has a bright future. That's right, Dancing Dog 60, he does. Let's see here. Mr. Magic, I do think Zoe Saldana will win over Ariana. Lloyd says, biggest snub, Grace, was it Jolie or Kidman? I think Nicole Kidman was the biggest snub. Again, I don't think she's going to, I mean, it's a little embarrassing. I think she'll be fine. They're both pretty big snubs, to be honest with you, but I think Nicole Kidman was considered such a front runner. It's pretty surprising. Twas with Sai says, Grace, can you explain why Ariana is a supporting actress and not a lead? Is it because in the lead category you have to choose? Well, I think it's because, they choose the category that they think that you can be in, that you have the best chance in. I think they obviously didn't want Cynthia and Ariana going up against each other. There's no way they'd both be nominated in the same category. And I also think that the issue is that, who sings Defying Gravity? Who is the story about? It's about Elphaba. She's the lead. I think she is the lead. I don't think that it's category fraud for Wicked. Weekend Thwip says, do you think Wicked for Good could sweep like the last Lord of the Rings? They have the original song, which both Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are getting original songs for the Wicked Part 2. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'd have to see the movie to make a comment on that. Oh, Austin says Coralie Farge should do Poison Ivy. She would be a great choice for Poison Ivy. Although I don't like going too full body horror with Poison Ivy. Although Coralie Farge certainly leaned into, glam as well. So maybe she would strike the right balance. I just woke up. I did not hear that about the substance being dropped by Universal. I don't know if that's true. But thank you for contributing to the conversation. Adam, I'm glad you loved Anora so much, but I don't see that happening. Nathan says, Grace, do you think Wicked was split into 2 parts for more awards chances? No, I think it was split into 2 parts for the money. As they said in Spaceballs 2, the search for more money. They were making that joke. I think that Wicked was, and I think also for telling the best story. I think they did a wonderful job fleshing out that story and working in more nuance from the Broadway show. I think that's why it was split into 2. All right, hold on. Let's see here. I missed a few super chats here. Brandon, as I said, I think Ariana Grande as Audrey Hepburn is excellent casting. I'd like to see her either do an Audrey Hepburn story or potentially an Audrey Hepburn remake or a role like that. Happy birthday, Jimmy Fletcher. Let's see here. Corrine says, Denis Villeneuve has missed out on Oscar Best Director nominations. That's true. He's had a hard time, but I like comparing him to Nolan. It makes him, it's like, then he doesn't have to feel so bad. And I think, people love the Dune movies. They're very successful. And let's see what he does with Dune Messiah. Maybe when he pulls Paul Atreides down, will he get the nominations that he's looking for? Future movie actresses' Brutalist chances depend on how severe a case it's deemed. I think if they think it didn't badly affect the overall product, they'll continue to bolster it. I don't believe that's true. I think the AI usage is pervasive enough that this really is like the first crack in the dam. And if you don't seal it up now, it's going to be that much harder to seal up later, if you can at all. If Hollywood doesn't nip this in the bud right now, if there aren't swift and severe consequences for using AI, it will just continue. Oh, let's see here. Oh, I'm at 131. Mystic says, what about for Clayface? Oh, she would do a good job with Clayface potentially. And I don't think they have a director for that picture yet. James Gunn, get on it. Go get Coralie Farge. And she made that movie for very little money. That's a great idea. I'd love to see James Gunn continue to make choices like that. Instead of he's like, who could direct it? Me. He's like, who? I just thought of a great director who everybody loves, who's very talented. Me. Let's see. And then Adam D. Sabato says, AMC is finally bringing their Best Picture showcase. that's great. So you can see these movies in theaters. Although I think people, you're really going to want to see that. You're going to see them do very well on digital. Hey, Psycho says that James Gunn already follows her on Twitter. It might happen. That would be very exciting. I hope he scoops her up before somebody else does. She would do very well in DC. That's exciting. I would definitely give James Gunn his flowers if he was able to get that done. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for today's live stream. I had a great time going over this with you. And of course, I'll be covering the Oscars themselves, just like I did the Golden Globes. So we'll have a really great time with that as well. All right, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.